I'm Mark Lamberth, board member of the foundation, and it is my distinct honor to introduce Governor Asa Hutchinson. Able, adept, accomplished, these words describe Asa Hutchinson. As U.S. Attorney, U.S. Congressman, Administrator of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, the first Undersecretary for Border and Transportation Security at the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and now as Arkansas's 46th governor, Asa Hutchinson has long demonstrated a capacity for competency that has served this nation and our state well. I'm sold on Asa Hutchinson. In May 2014, during the gubernatorial campaign, I and a few others interested in highway issues paid a visit to candidate Hutchinson to simply advise and inform him of highway-related issues. We did likewise with the Democratic nominee. In our meeting with then citizen Hutchinson, he began by telling us to take all the time we needed, listen to our presentation with focus and interest, and then ask very insightful questions. After our meeting, I told my colleagues, wow, he gets it. Well, Asa Hutchinson does get it. He has demonstrated not only his knowledge of, but his willingness to learn more about highway infrastructure issues. He assembled a working group on highway funding, and he accomplished critical funding through the recent special session, which was driven by his leadership. The governor knows the importance of highways, roads, streets, and bridges to the Arkansas economy, economic development, public safety, and private sector job creation. Along with his wife, Susan, who is a leader in child advocacy issues, they provide effective and common sense leadership for our state. They get it. Please join me in welcoming the governor of the state of Arkansas, the Honorable Asa Hutchinson.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark, for the introduction, but for your service to the state of Arkansas in many different capacities and for your work with the Good Roads Foundation. The Good Roads Foundation has been engaged for 40 years in leadership on highway development in Arkansas, both through education, advocacy, and just simple leadership. So I value the role that the foundation plays. I particularly want to mention Craig Douglas and his counsel to me, but also his leadership with the foundation, a steady and wise guiding hand. Craig, thank you for your leadership. Delighted to see the commissioners here. We got through the session. It was good. And thanks for your patience and support during that time. To the legislators that are here, thank you. This could not have happened without the Arkansas General Assembly. And so I'm grateful for your engagement in highway issues and support for the highway improvement plan that we passed. Recently, I had the opportunity to play in the Pro-Am, if you could even consider me the quality of an amateur, at the LPGA. And I got to play with Laura Davies, who's in the World Golf Hall of Fame. She's won 70 events on the tour, and we're on the green, and I read my putt, and I see that it's breaking left, and she says, no, it's breaking right. So what do? I hit it left, and what did the ball do? It went right. She looked at me and said, I won't tell you how to run the state of Arkansas if you won't tell me how to read greens. So the lesson there is sometimes you just got to stay in your lane. And you all do an incredible job of knowing highways, supporting the infrastructure in our state, and working in a team fashion. I did want to recognize my wife Susan as well. What a great partner that Susan is and hosting us today. I could say that we've learned something about staying in lanes as well. But she's a great host here at the mansion, and I love the support and love that she has for the state of Arkansas. Whenever you look at what we've accomplished this year, We had an objective. I had an objective. First of all, we went through a long process with the task force and presented really, after a great deal of study and numerous options that we could implement in the state. I pieced together from those options that were presented and the hard work of the task force a recommendation that I made to the legislature called the Arkansas Highway Improvement Plan. That plan had the support of the General Assembly. There was a debate in the General Assembly as to, well, should we do more? And, you know, I wanted to solve the immediate needs that we have here in the state of Arkansas and the opportunity that we have to meet the federal matching funds to give us the funds that we need to build highways and to meet that match of the federal government. So what are the results? The results of the passage of the Arkansas Highway Improvement Plan are that, first of all, the state is prepared to meet its goal of $47,380,000 transferred to the Highway Department by September 30th of this year. For the first time, $40 million in general revenue, that is unallocated surplus, will be transferred. Another $7.3 million from other state sources. This pattern is set to continue throughout the life of the federal highway program over the next 5 years. And by the way, Congressman Hill, thank you for getting everybody together in Washington to pass the highway bill. That gave us that gave us access to $200 million more of additional highway revenue each year, which over the course of 5 years, as you know, is $1 billion. This is not small change. This is a significant investment that we have tapped into. Researchers at Duke University recently concluded that for every $1 billion invested in highway construction, approximately 22,000 private sector jobs are created or sustained. That is economic development at its finest. Those are direct construction jobs and jobs from business and industry supporting the construction of those highways. For the consumer, this means that we have reduced maintenance costs. That is important to the consumer. For economic developer, it just puts us in a position for more success. We're able to tell those that we are trying to recruit to Arkansas that we have a good foundation for highway and infrastructure development in this state. And whenever you look at the job creation efforts that we've accomplished in this state, with a combination of just genuine hard work from our economic development team, to salesmanship, to investment in infrastructure and our new highway plan, the result is that we have a 3.8% unemployment rate, which is the lowest in the history of Arkansas. We have created 51,000 jobs and recruited industry from Sun Paper to the expansion of Matova to seeing the development of Big River Steel as I was there this week. We're recruiting industry. We're competing with other states. We're winning these battles, and it's all about the teamwork and economic development that is represented in this room. And by the way, I see a lot of county judges here, municipal officials, and part of the highway improvement plan is that we maintain the traditional split that protected the revenue stream for our cities and our counties. And you should know that as you look at the highway improvement plan, that for each year allocates 25% of unallocated surplus to the highway department. That is not pie in the sky. Those are realistic numbers based upon history and based upon the way we manage the budget in this state. And I see Larry Walther back here doing a great job as Director of Finance. And I think we're going to have a report next week that will show the kind of surplus that it's not something that you budget to make sure we have enough money for the highways, but it means that we budget conservatively by instinct in this state, which means we routinely have a surplus. And that surplus now can be used for high priority needs such as highways. That is the essence of the plan. To illustrate the conservative approach of the legislature, we created the reserve fund. We've always had the rainy day fund, and now we have a reserve fund that we will be able to continue to build for downturns in the economy. And one of the success stories I wanted to mention, just to illustrate how we're handling a budget in this state. A year ago, the Department of Health came to me and said, we're in the home health business, we're losing money, we're competing with the private sector, what do? We can shut it down, we can just continue losing money, or we can sell the business. We worked over the course of the year with many challenges, but we ultimately sold that business for $39 million. A business line from the state that ultimately, after we cover everything, reward, retention bonuses to the employees, we're going to net over $24 million to the state treasury and the reserve fund. Just as importantly, the service is provided, the employees are protected, and we've done it in a way that protects the interests of this state. And so let me look to the future now. I think that after we pass the Highway Improvement Plan, a quiet pause is in order. Let's get some experience under the current plan. Let's work to take advantage of the FAST federal highway bill that I've read that provides some unique opportunities for us to do innovative financing, to do public-private partnerships, to accelerate the delivery and the building of our highways and infrastructure. So let's take advantage of that. Let's take advantage and see the experience we have from our Highway Improvement Plan. What we have done is a good solution for our state for some time. But we also recognize that there is a need for an overlay. There is additional needs down the road long term. And so as you look at the January session, it's important for me to send the right signals. And it is my view, consistent with where I am now and where I was in the special session, that is that we have no increase in taxes. That is the mood of the Arkansas voter. I think it is the right thing to do in terms of protecting the lower gas prices that they have, helping them in their pocketbook. Secondly, there should be no additional transfers from general revenue without offsets. And so we have tapped into general revenues. It's unallocated surplus, but we want to protect general revenues for education, for all the other needs of our state. And so there should be no additional revenue transfers without offsets. Third, any additional plans should complement what we've already done, our current Highway Improvement Plan. We've got a great foundation. We are meeting our federal match. We have got our budget resources set for that, and anything in addition that should be considered should be consistent with what we've already done. And fourth, any proposal to raise taxes for highways should go before the voters. And that's not bad news, this is good news, because you look at how the voters have responded to specific highway plans. They've said yes when it's a good plan. They say yes when they have confidence that the money is well invested and it's clear and transparent as to how that money is going to be invested. They have supported you in the past, and whenever they have that confidence, they're likely to support you in the future, but they should have the prerogative to say yes or no to a future highway plan. And so it is important that the Good Roads Foundation lead the discussion into the future. And so I would like to see the Good Roads Foundation work to build a consensus on the next step. What type of plan should we have in terms of permanent financing for the long-term needs of our highways in this state? What type of bond program is needed? How do you build a consensus across this state so that all stakeholders are engaged, buy in, and it's something that's balanced across this state geographically, so whenever the legislature and the voters consider that, it would have broad support. We would like to call upon the Good Roads Foundation to take on this consensus-building effort and to help guide the future in highway funding in this state. That is something that you're well equipped to do, that I have confidence in your leadership, your history, and as Laura Davies taught me, you know highways. And so I ask you to take on that challenge. Let me conclude by saying that you have been a great partner to me. We've accomplished a lot together, and in Arkansas, we accomplish the most when we pull together, when we work together for a common end. We all have the desire to grow our economy, to protect our budget, to fund education, and to make sure that we have the infrastructure in this state that we can showcase all that is great in the state of Arkansas to promote industry, to promote tourism, to promote agriculture, and to promote the way of life that we value. Thank you very much.